I am thrilled to be here today with Nancy Fox. Nancy is an internationally recognized leader and pioneer in the culture change movement. She's been in our field for over 30 years, brings a lot of experience. She was the first executive director of the Eden Alternative. Nancy is a legendary leader, and she's also an award-winning author. She's written 2 books on leadership, The Journey of a Lifetime, Leadership Pathways to Culture Change in Long-Term Care, and Lessons in Leadership for Person-Centered Elder Care. We are thrilled that Nancy has worked with us to develop a new leadership class for the Eden Alternative called Leadership Using the Science to Elevate the Art. Nancy, thanks for taking some time with us today. Thrilled to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for that introduction.
So, first question, why is it important for leaders to think of leadership as both an art and a science?
I think I'll begin to answer that question by comparing the leadership that elder care has embraced for decades, that institutional type of leadership that is very hierarchical, very top-down driven, and relies on a handful of people, a handful of leaders who are very committed and courageous people, but who utilize enforcement to get their way and to get the outcomes that they want. And compare that to the new leadership that's required if we truly want to grow human communities, places where people want to live and work. The institutional type of leadership is very much a science, and it relies on old management science and compliance, whereas newer leadership, the kind of leadership that will get you a true community where people want to live and work, that leadership is much more of an art. But if you look at any art, look at painting or music, any art requires and depends upon a science to master that art.
Right.
So our leadership in elder care really has ignored the new sciences of human psychology, how humans behave, of sociology, how we behave in groups, and of neurology, the latest science about how our brains work. And there's some very interesting science that can help us master our art of leadership if we're willing to learn about it and then utilize that science.
Great. Thank you. Yes, you can only go so far without using both the art and the science.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So what kinds of changes? So a participant going to this class, learning more about the art, more about the science of leadership, when they go back to their community and put those skills into action, what kinds of outcomes, what kind of changes can they expect to see?
Well, I'll start with on the personal side. I believe that leadership and this type of leadership is really about human growth and becoming a better leader helps us in our own personal lives. It helps us become a better person. It helps us manage our emotions more. It helps us in our own happiness. And then there's the organizational outcomes that we can expect from this new type of leadership. And those are many, but I will begin with the benefits that you will see from having a stable, happy, engaged staff. When people feel good about where they're working and they feel engaged and they feel a part of the process, they are much more likely to stay. And we all know in this industry that when you have that kind of stable, engaged staff, other outcomes start to improve as well.
Absolutely, and that is such a challenge right now for our field, is with the staffing crisis going on. The better leadership skills the formal leaders have, they're growing other leaders and people that work there are more engaged, and
Yes.
that is
That's
critical.
the idea.
Yes,
How do
critical.
how do we grow leadership deep in our organizations and stop relying on just a handful of people to be leaders?
Wonderful. So what do participants say they value the most about this training? What kinds of
Uh,
things do they take away?
yeah, I think I've heard most that people really value the fact that we're able to take this research, um, this evidence-based data, this knowledge, and translate it into real life practices, tools, applications that they can take back and use tomorrow to dramatically change the culture and climate of their communities.
Wonderful. And we need more of that. Nancy, thank you for talking with us a little bit today about leadership using the science to elevate the art. It is a fabulous class that anyone working in this field needs, and really looking forward to seeing the impact that it has on communities around the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. I'm excited about the opportunity.